My long-held hope was gone. It felt like climbing to the top of a mountain only to be pushed off.
When I wake up in the middle of the night, I think about our future, what we are going to do, how we will go on, and I feel like I don't know what to do.
In 2024, the United States allowed a large number of refugees to resettle in the country, raising the hopes of Myanmar nationals who had spent years living in camps in Thailand. But earlier this year, President Donald Trump brought the U.S. resettlement program to a sudden halt, leaving refugees to struggle with mental health issues in the face of an uncertain future. Hello and welcome to Doh Athan, a weekly podcast about human rights stories from Myanmar. It's brought to you by Fondation Hirondelle. This episode is produced by a Doh Athan journalist. Names and voices may have been changed to protect contributors. It has been raining nearly all day at the Umpiem Mai refugee camp in northern Thailand's mountainous Tak province, near the Myanmar border. A chill has settled over the camp. The sound of rain echoes loudly on the low corrugated metal roof of Daw Khin Khin's house, and a dim light bulb glows in the living room. Daw Khin Khin, age 56, has lived in this humble dwelling with her two sons for the past 18 years.
It feels like I'm at the end of the road. There are many things I can't provide for my children. It feels like there is no way out. It's stressful. Sometimes during my prayers, I'm at a loss for words if I think about it, and then I need to start my prayers all over again.
Daw Khin Khin is from Ye Town in Mon State. She fled across the border to the Umpiem Mai camp with her husband and two sons in 2007 due to concerns for their safety because of their political affiliation. She lives in the camp with the hope that her family will have the chance to live peacefully and that her sons can continue their education. Unfortunately, in 2014, she was diagnosed with a serious illness that required major surgery. She still needs to take medication for the long-term effects of her illness. Due to her medical expenses, her older son had to quit middle school because the family could no longer pay the fees.
I feel sorry. I'm of the age where I should be working. I just want to try to provide for my sons properly, but my health is not good and I can't work. My eldest son had to quit school because of my health condition. Whenever I think about his education, it makes me cry. There is so much emotion I have been holding inside, but I'm afraid my sons will follow my example if I break down. I'm afraid they will lose hope if they see me crying.
Daw Khin Khin still hopes that her sons can complete their education, but her son who dropped out of middle school is now 28. Her younger son, 20, completed grade 12 at a school in Thailand, but he cannot go to university because the family lacks the financial means to pay his way. With plans for the family not going as she had hoped, Daw Khin Khin kept her disappointment to herself and did not let others know about her feelings. Her mental health deteriorated and then took another turn for the worse with the sudden loss of her husband, who had been the main breadwinner for the family.
My husband's health was not good and he was sent to Mae Sok General Hospital in 2023. He died there, but I don't know how it happened. I passed out when I heard he had died. When I regained consciousness, there were no clothes on me and one of my legs were convulsing. Since then, I have been hearing ringing sounds. I can't sit still. I get easily panicked. When I'm at home, I sometimes pace back and forth. I went to the clinic in the camp. They put me on medication, but I can't sleep even after taking sleeping pills.
Daw Khin Khin tried to regain her health and mental stability through months-long treatments, including sleeping pills and vitamin supplements. She and her husband always hoped to leave the camp and move to a place where her sons could make their own decisions and live freely. Last year, former United States President Joe Biden significantly increased the number of refugees resettled in the U.S. under the Refugee Admission Program. At that time, Daw Khin Khin had high hopes that her family could resettle in the U.S. She and her sons were interviewed for the program and passed the medical checkups. But the resettlement is still pending, leaving them in limbo as they wonder whether they will ever be given a date when they can leave the camp.
After completing the Department of Homeland Security processes, I was motivated and refreshed. How happy I was. Then, earlier this year, there came the 90-day review of foreign programs by the U.S. It didn't feel like 3 months. It felt like 30 years. It was very hard to get through a single day.
There are 9 refugee camps with a total population of over 100,000 along the Thai-Myanmar border, including in Mae Hong Son, Tak, Kanchanaburi, and Ratchaburi provinces. Over 12,000 refugees live in the Umpiem Mai camp. The U.S. started the verification process for the refugees living in the Thai-Myanmar border areas for the resettlement program in 2023. They started the resettlement process for refugees in Tham Hin, Ban Don Yang, and Umpiem Mai last year. U.S. President Donald Trump's promised 90-day review was largely a sham, and since he took office in January, the resettlement program has come to a halt, preventing refugees from departing for the U.S. Moreover, U.S. funding for health and food aid has been decimated, impacting 7 out of 9 camps. This also brought to a halt Daw Khin Khin's only dream, to start a new life with her sons that would allow them a better future.
I feel overwhelmed. I just want to be alone. I don't even want to sit in the middle of the living room. I just want to stay in the corner of my bedroom. People have told me they can't go to the clinic or hospital in our camp because they're not even open anymore due to the funding cuts. I feel pity for them, but I don't have anywhere else to go either. I don't go to the monastery like I used to. I don't talk to anyone much. Even if I go to the monastery, I don't talk to the monks.
Daw Khin Khin is not the only one feeling the pressure. The harsher conditions caused by the Trump administration's new policies have created further challenges for the refugees living in camps, putting greater strain on their health and livelihoods. Dr. Aron is providing psychological consultations through Mild Healer, an organization that provides free and confidential psychosocial support to those affected by crisis and conflict. He said the incidence of mental health problems has been increasing among refugees living in camps.
The main issue is depression. Their future is uncertain. They can't leave for another country. And the refugees won't get a chance to have citizens' rights in Thailand. There are so many mental health problems in the camps. Depression, schizophrenia, drug and alcohol-related problems. According to the data, stress, anxiety, and depression are the most common ones.
According to a 2024 International Rescue Committee report, the most common mental health issue in the refugee camps is alcohol and drug-induced mental disorder. Others include anxiety, depression, stress, and schizophrenia. Min Naing has been living in Umpiem Mai refugee camp for 19 years. He is originally from Ayeyarwady region. His entire family fled to the camp after being harassed by the military government due to his brother's political activism. Min Naing is a university graduate. The living conditions in camp, which feel to some like being under house arrest, made him depressed and led to alcohol abuse. He was able to overcome his alcoholism, but said many others are struggling with alcohol and drug addiction in the camps.
I had to take heart medicine for quite a long time. Whenever I heard bad news, I felt pain in my chest. My friends who also live in camps have had mental health problems and drug addiction. That doesn't make me feel happy. If their health gets worse, we can't afford to get them treatment. We have to pay with cash out of our pockets. I felt depressed and even spoke harshly to my family at home.
Min Naing hopes to resettle with his two sons, aged 17 and 12, in a third country. However, he slipped and fell and injured his ribs during the verification period of the U.S. resettlement program. But he didn't go to hospital to get treatment. Instead, he chose to stay in the camp so he could continue participating in the verification process.
I was in the verification process. If I'd left the camp to get treatment, I would have lost my place in the process. Even if I moved just a little bit, it hurt. I had to endure it. Even when I sneezed or coughed, it hurt. At that time, the most important thing was the verification process. Now, it has become a long-term health problem. Even when I ride a motorcycle, it still hurts. But at that time, my health was the second priority. My family can still be in the process, even if something happens to me, even if I die.
Although he prioritized his American dream, it was disrupted at the stage where he was still waiting for the interview. Min Naing said the psychological pain of the process coming to a stop cut deeper than the physical pain he has endured.
My long-held hope was gone. It felt like climbing to the top of a mountain only to be pushed off. It affected my mental health quite badly. I would like to get citizenship in a third country, which will guarantee my future, and then eventually go back to Myanmar.
Dr. Aron said that having no hope worsened mental health issues, which could become a serious concern if not addressed as soon as possible.
It starts with depression, which can lead to serious clinical depression, followed by suicidal ideation. We are seeing more and more suicide attempts. From the data we've gathered from 7 of 9 camps we have access to, the rate of suicide attempts has increased. The rate has risen since January, and increased even more in July and August in Mela and Umpiem Mai. If compared with the suicide death rate in the world, the rate in the camps is significantly rising.
Mental health care has been disorganized and inadequate in the camps. Dr. Aron advised that mental health treatment and care should be made accessible to everyone in the refugee camps, and is urgently needed in the current situation where people are losing their hope for resettlement. In August, the Thai government said 42,000 Myanmar refugees would be granted legal status to obtain work permits and seek employment. Dr. Aron said this was a sustainable way to help reduce mental health problems, but refugees are still concerned about which type of certificate of identity they will receive and what kind of work they will be allowed to do. They're also concerned about wage inequality and whether they will still be eligible to participate in the resettlement program if they work. Moe Moe, aged 50, lives in the Umpiem Mai camp with a friend. She is a native of Shan State and arrived in the camp around 2008. Now, due to the continuing conflict in her native state, she cannot return home. She is separated from her family and relatives, and she does not have a house to return to. She worries that she will have to spend her life alone in the camp.
Sometimes I break down and cry, but I remind myself crying will only give me a headache. I need to stay strong. I still have hope. I can let my spirit sink. I have to be well. I tend to my faith and pray to the Buddha. I meditate. That's how I heal myself. If not, I will go out of my mind. My health might suffer. When I get free time, I recite the glory of the Buddha. Yes, that's how I live.
Her chance to resettle in the U.S. was cut short at the interview stage. She is still waiting for the chance to leave the camp while working by herself to heal her emotional wounds.
This has been my hope for a long time. I worry that the refugee resettlement process might get shut down. I listened to the news, hoping to hear which country wanted to accept us. When I finally heard that resettlement was completely stopped, I felt sad. But I still hold on to the hope of being accepted by a third country.
As a mother, Daw Khin Khin was pained to see her children unable to finish their education and have no clear future. With their plans up in the air, she is afraid to hope again and is concerned about her psychological problems getting worse.
I don't know what the future holds for me. I can't say. I have to try my best. If I hope too much and nothing happens, I will suffer more. When I wake up in the middle of the night, I think about our future, what we are going to do, how we will go on, and I feel like I don't know what to do. It feels like I'm at the end of the road, not knowing which kind of hope I should have or where I should go.
Thanks for listening to this edition of Doh Athan. We would welcome your feedback on social media, and please follow or subscribe to our pages. This project on human rights reporting is supported by Fundación Hirondelle with the help of our donors. You can listen to our podcasts via the Doh Athan Facebook page. They can also be found on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, and Telegram. Please tune in again next week.